trying to illustrate, this piggy bank with just 1 penny in it is really not worth the weight of tanks that we distributed all across the board.
And why do you think it's so important to make protests for health?
Well, protest is part of our nature. America has been, full of protests all along. It's the way that people can speak. The voting process is really, once every 4 years and stuff like that. And that really, obviously, has not given us a chance to speak. That's not really a way for the people.
Midway Park, in front of the Midway.
If you're on the speaker program, David Gaff, we can appreciate you coming up here. Richard Greenblatt.
I'm a soldier marching in the army, got no gun to shoot, but what I got is one guitar. One guitar. Come on. I'm a soldier marching in the army, got no gun to shoot, but what I got is one guitar. One guitar. I'm a soldier marching in the army.
Some odd kids that have given their lives in the war in Afghanistan. Take a moment and reflect, if we could, in silence, on the human cost of war. To the young patriots who join our military believing in the cause of freedom, unfortunately finding themselves on the other side of the table in wars of occupation and invasion. Occupy captured our imagination last year at this time, across the nation and here in San Diego. And that movement has not died, it has just taken on a new direction. It's a movement that will go on for a long time. You guys have given us hope for the future generation. You came on target at a time when we were looking forward somehow to get the message out, and all of a sudden it started popping up in New York, in Chicago, and all across the United States and here in San Diego as well. So again, give yourself an applause. You guys are the new group of activists. We're here today because this is the 11th year. Actually, today begins the 12th year of war in Afghanistan. It began in 2001 on October the 7th, today, with an air campaign, and 2 days later, boots on the ground. 11 years later, 2,163 deaths and about 17,000 wounded in action, and we still go on like the ever-ready bunny, and there is no end in sight. Since I was born in 1947, there's been a trend in this nation towards a permanent state of militarization. And in fact, the militarization of United States foreign policy has reached a point where it is bankrupting this nation. It's something that General and five-star General and former President Dwight Eisenhower warned us against when he left office. He called it, and he warned us about the military-industrial complex. He warned us that if they entrenched themselves in our society, that it would be hard to get rid of them. They have put a military contractor in almost every congressional district with the intent of making the people in those districts dependent on the jobs, and the congressman dependent upon the jobs for his district, bringing home the bacon, and at the same time, his campaign contributions. They've corrupted this nation. Today, out of the budget, the discretionary spending, 57 cents of every tax dollar collected goes to the military, and another 5 cents goes to healing the veterans destroyed by war. That is 62 cents of every tax dollar we collect is spent on war and on the veterans. You know, those who don't know their history are doomed to repeat it. And I look back in the 80s when we funded the Mujahideen, and we funded Al-Qaeda, and we funded Bin Laden, and we gave them $2 billion to fight our proxy war against the Soviets. And when they beat the Soviets, what did we do? Did we go in there with a foreign policy to help them rebuild their nation? No, we left them. What happened is that we did have a strike at 9/11. But you have to ask yourself, and I remember we went in my office out on the front porch for a moment, and we all wanted to give a moment of silence for what had happened on that GI Bill. He used to be the head of the Veterans Affairs Committee. He's also a civil rights marcher from back in the 60s and the 70s. He's a champion for the Filipino veterans that he helped get their benefits after World War II denied so long. He's also a man who's for the middle class, who stands up for people and people's rights over corporations. He's running for mayor of San Diego. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bob Filner.
Good morning. This is a sad day to celebrate such an anniversary. The Arlington West is a very moving memorial. The one up in Santa Monica is incredibly moving as we see this. I did not vote for this war. But we have to take care of the young people when they come back. You know, I noticed the casualty figures that are up. They have been incredibly accelerating lately. Several thousand dead, more wounded, and if you add in Iraq, they come out, their official figures are like, 7,000 dead, 50,000 wounded. Do you know how many veterans have shown up at the VA hospitals for treatment and injuries from this war? Over 1 million. 1 million. That is not a rounding error. That is not just a slight, bump. That's a deliberate attempt to mislead the people about what is happening in these wars. How we have destroyed young people, not only the deaths and the injuries, but the suicides, the hidden injuries of brain injury, what they call PTSD, which is not a disorder. It's combat stress injury and ought to be treated as such. We have injured hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of our young people in a war which could never be won. I'm a historian. If Alexander the Great couldn't win in Afghanistan, and the Soviets couldn't win in Afghanistan, and the British couldn't win, how are we going to do it? So it was and you know how many Al-Qaeda are there that we're supposedly running this war against? I mean, I've been at all the classified briefings. I mean, there's something like, 25 Al-Qaeda there. And we're sacrificing all of this treasure of our young people and adding, to this deficit and hurting the economy in the long term. And killing Afghans. All of this, for what? I don't know. I don't know if it's ever been really justified. In Iraq, they had oil that they went after. I don't know why we're here. So, thank you for showing the stupidity of this conflict. Thank you for speaking up for the young people who have spent their lives and wasted their lives in pursuit of something that some people in America want. I know the American people don't want this. And yet there we are. Just by inertia, it keeps going. So thank you for standing up. The rest of America should listen. It's time to add the voice of reason to say to Mr. Obama and everybody in Congress, support the troops, bring them home now. Thank you.
no peace. U.S. out of the Middle East, no justice, no peace.
U.S. out of the Middle East.
No justice, no peace.
U.S. out of the Middle East.
No justice, no peace.
U.S. out of the Middle East.
No justice, no peace.
U.S. out of the Middle East.
I'm good.